Hi, everybody. And we're being interrupted because guess who's back? We have the lilacs are finally wilting in my neighborhood.
And mine, too.
Mine. But returning, It is the Baron. Steve's back.
Hey, hello.
And Greg is off doing jazz stuff or working or something. So Suzi's back to be guest host just with us.
Well, hey!
And she's very... we have to tell her to come out of her shell.
Yeah, she's the reserve.
We're very happy to have as a guest, my friend. And we have this Steve, probably like if I talk about musicians who are Rochester institutions, we have one who is, and one Steve who should be institutionalized over here.
I think either applies.
But this is Steve Lyons. Welcome to the show, man.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
It's great to be anywhere these days.
Yeah, anywhere but a hospital or the morgue.
Word. I think we all know what that's like. Being in the hospital sucks.
Yes, and the thing with Steve, too, is like that's
Which Steve?
You're the Baron for this show because I'm going to start goofing
Baron
off.
Vaughn.
You're Baron Vaughn. But before this stuff happened, we would run into each other all the time. I'd be taking my dog for a walk in the park. There'd be Steve playing. I swear, one time you waved to me when I was walking, you went by and you stopped your car and said hi. I think it was you.
Probably did, yeah.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Annie just got
Lyons
this for me.
is... Oh, Annie, by the way.
If you see the picture,
Steve's,
you'll see the shirt.
When are you guys going to get married?
Hopefully later this summer.
Okay.
We kind of... It was one of those
You're
things
not married?
where... What's that?
I thought you were married.
No. Well, I've been married twice.
That we know about.
Yeah, that we know about.
This one's the real deal.
Yeah, this one's the
Annie's
end.
been a friend of mine for years, and when she and Steve started dancing, I was kind of like thinking to myself, "Oh my God, are they going to start dating? If they start dating, the world is going to be a better place." I really thought that. I swear to you, I thought that.
Yeah,
and then I go up to Annie, and I'm like, "Annie, is it true? Are you and Steve?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's nodding her head up and down, yes. And she has this big smile on her face. And every time I see you guys, you have just this glorious glow.
Yes, and in all the pictures I see together, they look so happy.
Oh, I'm getting the tingles. That means it's the truth.
Well, what was I saying to you about that? I'm saying I have to get away from all these artistic people I'm involved with. I need my Sarah Palin or MAGA girl. I need stability. So throw my record collection out the first thing.
You can find them all on TikTok.
But I'm just going to... Something is...
There you go.
I do not go on that thing at all. I don't want to know.
You get sucked in.
Anyways, we're going up. One thing I want to ask before we talk about music is you mentioned the Three Stooges thing to me, Baron Vaughn. We have to bring out some Stooges. Joe Besser not allowed.
No.
I'm liking him, man. It's like the lost.
No.
I'm telling you, because I've never seen him, because I always just, it's Joe Besser. I've been watching them on MeTV.
Yeah, they do those snippet ones.
They're not that great, but it's just like, because it's like new, I kind of got sucked in. Same with my drummer, Brian. It's like, holy shit, it's like the lost episodes.
And while we still have viewers, if you said that.
Not so loud!
Oh, not so hard! But what was that Stooges fact about Walter Brennan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Watching a documentary on Walter Brennan. This is such serendipity.
The dude looked like
him.
that way when he was 10.
Walter Brennan. He was, it was one of the ones where there were nights, I think it's Nutsy Nights, and it's with Curly. It's a Curly one. At the beginning, their dad calls him into the bedroom, and I never knew this, watched it 1,000 times, laying in the bed, the one that says that, you know, you were originally of royalty, you need to go back home and help the queen. It's Walter Brennan.
Wow.
I was once I noticed it, I was like, holy shit.
Okay, Knuckleheads, I want to be serious now for a minute. I was thinking about, like, the first bands I ever saw you in. Steve, tell me if I'm wrong, because I was thinking of some of your bands, and I might be right, my brain might be frazzled. It was the Enerjets, the Dukes, and King Juke, at least.
Yeah, King Juke would have been the first.
Okay.
I was in bands in high school, then straight out of high school, started a kind of a folk trio, and we moved to Massachusetts, and were there through the 70s. Nobody would ever know the name of the band was Softwater.
We do now.
Yeah. And then I moved back after getting divorced the first time in 1979 and started King Juke with Alex Deshlenkovich. And then we were together for about 5 or 6 years, went through a bunch of different players, then that evolved into the Energets. The Untouchables first, then the Energets, because we found out the Untouchables were a ska band that had a big hit.
Plus a TV show.
Yeah, that too, yeah. Yeah. And so it became the Untouchables, then we changed the name to the Energets, and then went through another period of transition and eventually ended up with the legendary Dukes for 22 years. So, and I'm still playing. I've got multiple bands that don't work.
Story of musicians during this stuff.
Yeah.
And really, what got you into it, like, beginning? Like, what kind of, like, you seem like you're all over the map for music.
Well, I was exposed to country music at a very young age. My mother was from West Virginia. We used to go down there when I was a little kid a lot, and the only radio that was on was either country, gospel, or hillbilly music. If it was music, it was a lot of talk radio, preaching and whatnot. So I got exposed to country music when I was a kid, and didn't really care for it because that was my dad's thing,
Did you ever hear the story? Maybe it's not true, but when Buddy Rich died, supposedly his last words were, "Ain't as bad as country music." That's a story. You don't know if it's true or not.
Knowing Buddy, well, not knowing Buddy, but yeah.
Knowing his rep.
Yeah, knowing his rep.
Because I guess, like, he knew Carmen, Epipiece, whatever. I read his book, he uses both of them. But I guess he said, rock drummers suck, but I like you.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a man of a little bit of confidence in himself.
Just a bit.
Just
yeah.
a little bit.
He was also one of the best drummers.
Oh, see, that's the thing.
Absolutely
He
my
backed
favorite
it
drummer
up.
in the world.
I think the only drum duel he lost was the Animal on the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
But,
And
that's
he
the thing.
threw it.
I always
He threw the
respect
match.
people. I call it confidence, and I, like Steve and I, we're part of the
That's what
the
got me to
Baron
like him.
here. We're part of, like, the Telly Savalas fan club, the Lee Marvin fan club. And we think, like, people, you're not arrogant, but you hold yourself with confidence. Then you back it up, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well, going back to your original question, so I was exposed to country music, was not a big fan. Later on, developed a huge appreciation for it. But what really set me off was, obviously, I was 11 years old. The Beatles were on Ed Sullivan. I was just starting to learn how to play guitar, and I saw the effect that they had on my female cousins, and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do from now on. So that's what I've been doing.
Ever since, you just got that and you never stopped.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
I
then
know.
we finally found the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's. But I remember, like, Suzi, first time I ever saw you, I think, was in Earl Cram. Did you
Yeah.
ever do anything before that?
Oh, yeah.
I might have seen you before then, not known. You never know.
You wouldn't have, because
Well,
I was in San
Oh,
Francisco.
and I was in Alexandria for
Yeah.
the 90s, so I didn't.
In San Francisco, I started a band with a bunch of people called Bond Me Up. We played a couple places, but it didn't really go anywhere because we were all in college and I took off. I was the flake. I was one of the lead singers. But I flaked all the time. I was the only one who had a responsibility with a child, and all the other people were like, come on, man, we gotta get together and jam.
We'll be home by 7 in the morning. Don't worry.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't do this. So I went back to Rochester, and, well, when I was 19, I played with a couple people, and I sang in a couple punk bands, but it just wasn't for me, because I'm a blues singer and a soul singer, so I couldn't get that growl that I wanted at that age. So when I came back, I started with Sam LaCara, may he rest in peace, in a band called Edith Head.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, well, there were two Edith Heads. Paj Koskol, my friend, had a band named Edith Head the same time we had a band named Edith
Wasn't
Head.
she a costume designer
She
in
was
old
a
Hollywood?
Yes, she was.
There you go.
Good job, Steve. Good job.
I really impressed the fuck out of
Barons,
myself.
so we don't goof it up.
Barons, yeah, Barons.
The Baron.
Le Baron. And so Sam had written all this stuff. We met because my daughter was 3 at the time, And I was looking for a babysitter, and his wife, well, girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, I call her wife, her name was Rachel. Rachel would watch my daughter and her daughter. And one day I was singing, and he's like, "Oh my God, you can sing." And I'm like, whatever. I wasn't really thinking anything of it because I was a pastry chef. I didn't really care about being in a band. He's like, you just got to do it. And he talked me into it. And I hesitantly went up on stage at Token Joe's. And Rob Florida was there. God, I love you, Rob. And I absolutely thought Rob Florida could do no wrong. Anytime I saw him, my heart would pitter-patter because I thought he was one of the best drummers in the city of Rochester. And
And
I'm
in
just like,
every band, basically, that was playing at one time, too.
and I'm just like, I would look at him, and I couldn't even look at him because I was such a huge fan of his. And he's there with a bunch of other people, and I'm like, I better put on a show for this guy because if I don't, I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. And then we started playing at the Bug Jar, and then, and this was before Greg joined. It was Greg was there, and it was also with Dave Shaheen and myself. So it was Sam, Dave Shaheen, Greg Andrews, and myself, and that's when I was Suzi Whitney, before I got married to Don Blair, which is my first and only marriage, and I plan to keep it that
What
way.
are we talking about? Like, marriage? Is this our marriage episode?
Dude,
is.
it's important. It's important. We talk about the loves of our lives.
But like
Come on
the Barons
now.
band's the only one I could be the lead vocalist for.
That's absolutely right.
But was this your first endeavor into this stuff? I want to use the word endeavor.
Me?
Tombstone, yeah, you had to do other stuff before this, I think.
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, I started playing like around 17. I was already well versed. I was a big rock guy. And I was already into drugs, and I was pretty good with chicks. I was much handsomer and slimmer and good looking back then. But I didn't think, and I thought you had to be like British and otherworldly to play guitar.
Yeah, Steve, did you ever work on like a Liverpool accent, or did you?
I did.
Good.
No.
Yeah, we
I
all.
did.
I managed to develop one, but I never worked on it.
But growing up in Henrietta, nobody played guitar. I didn't know anyone that played anything. Then when I was 16, almost 16, we moved to Brighton, and I went there for a year before I got kicked out. But all these people were playing in bands, and most of them sucked. Most of them were like douchebags, and I got sick of like strangers constantly coming up to me and going, "Tell me about your band. What's your band's name?" I'm like, "I don't even play anything. What the fuck?" And then the Ramones. And I was like, I might not be able to be Richie Blackmore or Jimmy Page,
But
this maybe. And then my mom got me a guitar for my 16th birthday, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah. Well, that's like the perils of being a fan of alternative music in a Catholic suburban school like I was, where you're supposed to like basically 3 or so bands, and I would just get, who are these guys in your locker? They suck. And now I bet all those people are wearing the T-shirts, doing
Yep.
all that. But a good question to ask all musicians is, like, being on the scene for so long, how would you say, and obviously COVID now, but in terms of how's it changed over the decades, do you think? Has it stayed the same and changed?
I can't talk about
Well,
that.
we have the
'cause-
other two.
Yeah, because I moved back here in '90, and I was so sick and strung out that I wasn't even. I didn't even think I could ever play again. So it took about 15 years before I started even like thinking again in another band. So by the time Tombstone finally started, after 2 false starts with schmucky singers, our first gig was the first time I was on stage in 20 years. Which
Well, I know, like,
was
I'm
a
thinking, like,
nightmare,
I
but-
never was at that club, the Orange Monkey. I've heard a lot of stories
Oh,
about that.
yeah.
I never was at that one. Maybe I was just a little young.
I used to hang out in the back.
Yeah.
I couldn't get in, but
Where was that?
Little Trolls.
I remember the
Yeah.
little trolls from
They
the
used to-
arcade, the Penny Arcade.
They used to play
Right.
the Monkey. It was in Henrietta.
yeah, we played there a
at
few times
Jefferson.
back in the day. It was a weird place. It was mostly a meat market. It was guys going there trying to act slick and pick up girls, and girls dressing up trying to get picked up or
It was
not
like a
get
rock
picked up.
bar meat market. right?
Yeah.
With
there
the
was
hair and
there was a
everything.
bunch of them back then. The Glass Onion was another good example. Only a much cooler place. cooler people. The monkey was kind of hoity-toity people, you know. Everybody would see you with your hair's a little too long, and you know, you're not.
I think
very
my
with
biggest thing was the obvious one was Scourge's.
Oh, Scourge's,
obviously.
Scourge's.
That was my second home.
That
my
was. And the
place.
thing was, it was like I even got it back in those days. Nobody was as big about IDs or anything. So
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope,
in
not
there.
at all. Don
Yeah.
Scourge was awesome, man. He was great.
Let me tell you a quick Scourge story. When I first moved back here in '79, he had just opened, basically. And me and a friend of mine, who ended up being the bass player for King Juke, we'd go to Scourge's pretty much every day because we weren't employed. And we'd eat, drink, and run a tab. And at one point, I'm sure our tab was in the 4 figures.
Wow.
Months and months and months and months of just going down there, have a burger, drink beer all day. Yeah, put it on my tab. Yeah, put it on my tab. So finally, after we started playing there and I started making some money,
You take it out of you.
I told Don, I was like, Scourge, I got a tab back there that's got to be huge. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I'll go get it for you. I go, I can't pay the whole thing, but, you know, let me pay off part of it. So, yeah, I'll go get it. He never came back. So this went on for about a month. Don, about that tab. Oh, yeah, I'll go look for it. I think one of the girls found it yesterday. And he'd never come back. And then finally, after a while, I just stopped asking. And like a year later, I said, Don, whatever happened to my tab? He just laughed.
My dad, he sold cars at Bob Johnson down Scourge's. And my
Yeah,
dad,
right,
So
right.
my dad tells me, he goes, there's this guy that I bought the car from. He says, like, he owned, I know you used to go there. I think his name was Squeaky.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, Scourgy.
Yeah. Well, and then about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, Scourgy came up. He'd moved out of town and everything. He came up and he came to see me play one night. And I saw him walking. We were at Smoking Joe's. We're in the backyard. And I see Scourgy come through the door. And I'm like, and he goes, don't say that. Don't say nothing. He goes, I'm incognito. I'm like, okay. So I talked to him for a while. I said, Don, let me buy you a beer. He goes, yeah, all right. So I hand him his beer, and I go, enjoy that. That's probably the most expensive beer you've ever had in your life. And I reminded him of the bar tab, and he just rolled his eyes and laughed.
I remember honey wheat was like the biggest thing to him. Honey wheat.
Oh,
you gotta try
yeah,
honey
yeah.
wheat. You gotta try
But I
honey
remember,
wheat.
that's like I always say, no musicians ever announced my birthday because that one fateful night at Abilene when Greg Townsend was playing, and he told everybody it was my birthday, and everybody wanted to buy me drinks. And the rest was, well, 3 days later.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, part of the scene. And Smoking Joe's, I'll say, that's a great venue. I love that place.
Oh my God.
How are they doing? I mean,
They
Suzi,
are doing wonderful.
Yeah.
They are doing great. They've had so much hardship. And let me
Yeah.
tell you something. The Pizzo family are very tight. And I feel that you and I, Steve Lyons, are part of the Pizzo family.
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
and Ann
Yeah.
are wonderful people. They've had so much loss. And our darling Jillian, and her family.
Yeah.
Jillian has gone through a lot also.
Well, yeah, they've lost so many.
And,
Grandson, daughter,
you know.
bartenders.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But he's
So,
doing good.
He's doing really good. They've started remodeling the bar. We just went in on last Sunday and talked to them, about booking gigs because we love playing there.
I love it. It's fun. It's
Every
fun.
time we play there, we feel so safe and warm. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm in Mama's womb.
Yeah.
Seriously, I feel like I walk in and I'm in the TARDIS and nothing can go wrong for real. And he just puts on this great face, and Joe, let me tell you a story about Joe. Joe knows that I've been ill, and I am one of their Reiki healers. I work Reiki on them. So one day he's like, you don't get enough healing yourself. I'm going to take you to my doctor. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. He goes, I'm going to take you to my doctor. I'm going to take you to my doctor. 10 years later, we finally get to the doc.
Dr. Jeff?
Dr. Jeff.
Yes.
He sits me down.
He's my doctor, too.
He's wonderful. This man is absolutely wonderful.
the best.
He feels over me. He goes, you got a problem with your liver. You got a problem with your kidneys. You got a problem with your pancreas. You need to stop drinking alcohol. You can drink beer if you want, but I really think that you just need to lay off the alcohol whatsoever. And I'm like, yep, okay, yeah. He sticks a bunch of needles in me. I get out, and literally the next day, the psoriasis was gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
And then I'm a rebellious little brat, okay? I don't like to be told what to do. You tell me I need to quit drinking, so what do?
Drink.
I start drinking more. So what do? I get a bottle of tequila, and I drink the tequila down. Then I go for the whiskey, and I go for the vodka. By probably 4 months later, I have psoriasis patches all over my body again because I'm stressed out, totally strung out on alcohol. And I finally put myself into rehab. I quit drinking. I'm 8 months sober now, and it's all thanks to Dr. Jeff for saying, you really need to quit this shit.
Yay.
He's the guy.
And it's because of Joe Pizzo
Yeah.
that I quit. And every time I go there, he's like, I got you covered. Don't you worry about a thing. He's a wonderful man.
I think that's a common denominator over the decades with music, like our type of music in a community like ours is, it's like when Caitlin Yarsky was on the podcast recently, or my friend Mike asked how we met. And I always know how people, like how I met people, but I said, well, we knew everybody in common. And I think that's one of the great things about the music community. You go out, you make friends, you feel at home in our little thing. And anybody's welcome to come out to it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not like if you're going to some big show and nobody knows who you are or anything else.
I'll tell you something else with Smokin' Joe's. He has this wonderful dog named Zero. Zero is the best little staffy that you could ever see.
I've seen it.
Oh, he's wonderful. If Zero doesn't like you, you are not able to come in because Zero likes everyone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think I've only seen it one time that Zero growled at someone. And Joe's like, you got to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Well, you're not playing there, Baron.
No, actually, I get along with animals.
No,
I'm the guy that goes,
Zero
oh,
would
my
fall in
cat's,
love with you.
Cat's not going to, don't even try. Cat's on my lap. Fuck, he hates everyone. I'm like, yeah.
I had one. My house mate had
People
one
have a
that
problem.
That was like
Yeah,
Satan or
me
whatever.
too, me
That's
too.
a question I always
like
ask
dogs more
too.
than people. That's true.
In terms of how did COVID, in terms of your doing your music, because I'm sure you're used to playing out so much, and all of a sudden you have to stop. And how did you really deal with that?
Well, I was just talking to Steve about that before.
Well, now it's like, you want to share it with the class, Baron?
You're just so fast. Mr. Impatience.
I know, right?
Me and him are like the only ones that like stopped playing. It was like depressing to think about the guitar. And I pick it up and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do with this? Probably also because I had that almost 20 years of quarantine, basically. I'm like, this is like, no, not now. Fuck. Why did this happen 15 years ago? I had nothing. I would have sat at home happily. So I just focused on the radio show. Otherwise, I probably would have hung myself. It's horrible.
And again, like we did, we had to put this on hiatus, and I'm perfectly fine with doing so because of guests, and it's dealing with that's way more important than this. But I think, did you start, because I know Mike did too, could you start doing it from home or somewhere? Or you came to the studio, just nobody was there?
Yeah, well, the studio was closed for a while, like almost a month and a half. And whoever has their own home studio would pre-record and send it in. Luckily, I didn't realize there was like just enough archived shows of mine that it covered. I thought there were only 2 or 3. It turned out to be, 6 weeks worth, 7 weeks worth. And I was the first live person because the show before me is pre-recorded. Armin's on after me. He's pre-recorded. So they're like, hey, Steve's an idiot. Let's push him in. So I don't see anybody. I zip in the studio by myself and go home. So I was the first live one. It was fucking great. I was so glad to be back.
I think, Steve, you were at Greg's signing at those guitars. I saw you.
Yeah.
The funny part, the story I told Mike Murray this. So I'm talking to Greg. I go to walk out. Armin's looking at me. I say, how you doing? I go, you're messing up. I can actually get through this lane to get out of here. Because I remember, like, his wife going on there, she'd go, I always tell him to clean it up, and that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
You got to dig deep. You never know what you're going to find.
Oh, yeah. The house, man, that place is...
And if you played, I know,
trip.
now, Suzi's going to play, you're going to play at the, like, last gig I saw with the Baron was at I Square. If you played there, Steve, and Suzi, I think you're playing there.
Yeah, let me tell you the date. You guys talk. I'll tell you the date in a few seconds.
I played there 2 years ago with my country band, Our Own Worst Enemy.
I know, Sue, you played there before.
Oh, you played on our radio. Did you? Yeah, we had to get you on early.
Yeah.
We had a Rochester Free Radio day.
Yeah.
And, they were like, try to get some different kind of bands. And I was like, I know a really cool country band.
Did you give out transistor radios that they were free, or like did you?
I wasn't
really
there.
Put some money into.
I was
it?
doing my show.
I still listen to like all your shows on that little transistor I got.
I think it's July 24th.
Yeah, and now I remember
yeah.
it's
July
finally going mad.
24th.
You played there before. I've seen you there.
Yeah, we've played many times.
It's a great
there.
venue,
Yeah.
though. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you my stories of house guitars. I've been going there since I was a kid. Because I grew up in the city, but I also grew up in Irondequoit. So I would always walk to. I would always either hang out at Record Archive or I'd hang out at the Hog. Every time I'd see Bruce, he'd say hi. So he'd literally watch me grow up from this little girl to now. And every time I see him, Suzi, hi, how you doing? And every time I see him, he's like, "You gonna pick up a guitar? You gonna just pick up a guitar and play? I just want to hear you play. I like the way you play the 12th string. Just go sit down and play for me. I really like it." And he goes, "Are you in a band?" And I'm like, "I am." He goes, "I'm gonna book you." All right, he's just the nicest person ever. And every time I see Armand, he's like, "I don't understand." And he talks about our band like he goes, "I love that singer. She's
He was like,
great."
he was fine. Like when I saw him, we were real pleasant.
He's like, "She's a great singer. She's amazing." And every time he sees me, he's like, he's like so shy. And I'm like, "Dude, you gotta talk to me." So Armand, next time I see you, you need to look me in the eye and give me a big old hug and a kiss on the cheek because you and I deserve it.
That's one thing too. I think a lot of people I know, like
I'm
for
so
me,
bossy.
I know the Baron especially, the Baron too. A lot of
I
our
love you.
a lot of our things we would do is like all the music we'd be ordering. We'd be waiting for those packages to come over the pandemic. It would be what's in the mail today.
Right.
But I think a lot of people miss out these days. You could go online and get anything. The good old hunt for music in our day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There were like very few shows on TV, maybe like Midnight Special.
Yep.
Soul Train, a couple others.
Right.
You'd have to find stuff. And
Don
the way
Kirshner.
you'd find it too is like your friend would find it and say, "Hey, have you heard of this? Oh, have you heard of this?" And that's how you would find out.
Yeah.
Whereas now everything's out there.
Do you know what
Yeah.
do you know what I used to do as a kid after high school? I was 16 years old and I started to start my own cleaning business. I have a cleaning business and I clean houses. I'm not doing it anymore. It's too much. But
At 16?
At 16.
A productive young lady.
Yep. I went to Godiva on Monroe Avenue, and then I went to, I can't remember the name of the little shop where Aaron's Alley used to be, but it was a clothing store. And then I would go to Record Time with Dave, and then I would go to Movie Madness, and I would just go in and clean everything and work for trade. Dave,
He
yeah.
hooked me up with my very first band.
Freaking awesome. that
Yeah,
guy.
what a great
So
dude.
I'd go and I'd say, this is what I would like. I'll come in once a week and go through all your stuff, clean all your albums, and leave with 2 to 3 albums a week of my choice. And he'd be like, "Okay." And with Movie Time, the same thing.
Perfect.
And Tom was like, "Yeah, girl, go for it." And we would just talk and shoot the shit. And my girlfriend, Stephanie is this wonderful girl that we used to hang out together at Movie Time. She came, I was at the hospital. She worked at Highland, and when I was at the hospital last week, she came and visited me. And it was just like, we just talked about that. Anyway, I digress. That was my first business, and Dave was one of the first people that got me really into music. He was just such a great guy.
Great guy.
Steve, this is especially for you. I've been talking about the music scene. How did you sing? Is it pretty much like in terms of how has it stayed the same and changed over these decades in terms of a working musician for places to play, crowds, everything else?
Well, we're still getting paid about the same as we were in the 70s.
It's so true.
and that, yeah, it is true.
Sad.
It is
It's
true.
sickening.
Or worse, even.
It's sickening.
But
Slave wages for music.
yeah, but
What I hate is like people that why don't you play for free?
What?
Well, no, I've heard that from so many people.
yeah.
They don't think like artists like you should be paid for your work.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, why
right,
don't you
right.
work for free? Why don't
That's
you?
what I say. That's what
yeah,
I say.
it's a job.
It's
I mean,
a,
it really
it's a
is.
business.
It's a business.
Yeah. People
And-
don't realize that. Yes, it's great. It's cool. But it's like a friend of mine. It's like, why don't you draw something for me? Well, you're an artist. Well, I do commissions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you
So,
go fuck
so what were you
yourself?
saying? What were we talking
We're
about?
talking about how the music
Yeah.
scene's changed.
Well,
like,
it's,
It hasn't.
in some ways, it's changed a lot. But what I see lately, especially amongst the older musicians, is that there's a huge camaraderie that was always there, but now it's really pronounced. Especially, when we're losing some of our friends, people are dying or getting sick. People are just coming together a lot more than they used to. There's no, and this is especially true of the older musicians, there's no competition. I mean, yeah, we're vying for the same jobs, but it's like, hey, you get the gig, great, God bless you, more power to you. I'll
We'll
come
be
out and
there.
see you play,
Exactly.
and largely the way it's stayed the same is the pay, and the venues have changed, but really not much has changed in that regard. And plus, what I'm seeing too, as an older musician, we're starting to age out. I mean, our audiences are starting to age out. They're not going out as much as they used to. Or, on the other hand, sometimes some of them, their kids are off to college now, and so they have more disposable income, more free time, and they're going out more. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing some of that too. So it's a little of column
and I
A,
like to
column
always,
B.
I try, one of the things that I try to do with this show is say, support your local musicians. Guess what? Go see what you like. Go see what you don't know yet because you might like it.
Yeah, that's
Because one thing I always
absolutely
say, we know we all know each other. I'll go to a show, like, say, just the Abilene, because I just saw Suzi there. I'll know everybody there. It's
Yeah.
like seeing friends. And I think that's the thing. I want to see other people who've never been there before.
Right.
Because guess what? Try it. You might like it.
There were like the show that we played at Abilene, and you're right, Steve. This musical community is amazing. Bob Olson broke his leg last year. Steve sat in with us a couple times and played with us for our show, and he did a great job, and it was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
And I thank you for that.
No, my pleasure.
And Bob,
you went up also. I remember when you came up and sang some songs with her at one show.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Bob Olson's like, oh my God, this is so awesome. I've always looked up to Steve. He was one of the main reasons that I wanted to become a guitarist. He said that at rehearsal.
That's why you were the Baron, because I don't think anybody said that to you.
No, but I have my Steve Lyons story. How we first
There we
met.
go.
One of our first shows we played at Montage. It was with Dang and Krypton 88.
Oh, yeah. I
Diesel,
remember that.
Twang, and Thunder.
Yep.
So I didn't know Steve, and like I said, I was like out of the whole scene for like 2 decades. But I always see his name in free time. So like I knew he was like a dude that plays all over the fucking place. So we were on last, we finished, and this dude comes up, introduces himself, and I don't know what he said, but like basically, you're a badass guitar player.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's the gist of it.
Yeah, you really are.
that was so fucking nice, man.
Well, you
I
guys-
never forgot that.
You guys knocked me out. I was expecting, kind of garage surf and probably not real great. And I was really surprised because the talent was there, and it didn't hurt
Thanks.
too. I had met Dennis, and I liked him a lot just as a person.
Everyone knew Dennis.
And Brian and I actually worked together for a while.
Brian's worked with everyone
Yeah, well, I mean,
in the music. If you had a music industry job,
yeah,
you know Brian.
Well, we both worked for ART,
There you go.
which was an offshoot of
MXR.
MXR.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, and I got
keyboard.
I met him way back then, and then when I heard him, that was the first time I ever heard him play. I didn't even know. I knew he was a musician, but I'd never heard him play. So I don't think back then he was in a band or anything.
Yeah, he was in like like a party kind of band.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I never got a chance to hear them. And then when I caught you guys, I was like, hey, these guys are really good. You know, you got your niche, and you know what it is, and you look it, you sound it, and you act it.
Definitely.
And it was a great show. Really
Thanks.
great show.
Definitely.
But
And then you didn't see me slip him the 5 afterwards.
but that meant a lot to me, man.
Oh, well,
See, that's the
thanks.
thing. You
Before
have,
that, when I was trying to start the band, I didn't have any references. I didn't realize how important that was. Well, who'd you play with? Well, I haven't played in like 20 years.
Yeah, that doesn't go over big.
Yeah. I'm like, but you can't, I could tell if we're going to fit in 10 minutes. You don't have 10 fucking minutes?
Yeah.
No. Or, well, if this is an instrumental band, you're the guitar player, you got to be good. So how come I never heard of you?
Oh my God.
So I ate like so much shit before I finally got it together. So
Oh,
when
sure,
someone like you comes up and says, "Wow, you guys are fucking rock, man." Thank you again.
hey,
I'll be
my
thanking
pleasure.
you the rest of my life.
I
And
and for all of you
talk to you up
distractors, send your hate mail to.
Yeah, whenever anybody talks about instrumental bands in Rochester, I go to Tombstone. Hands are
Tombstone
killer.
Hands.
You know.
Absolutely.
I'll give you
They're
another
cool.
one. Harley Hiltz. He came. You had that show
Yeah.
at the archive.
Yeah.
He comes up. And we don't see each other that often. We're talking. He goes, "It's the best band in Rochester."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Not Steve's, you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's saying something. Harley's got good
Let me
taste.
tell you something, Baron. Your stage presence is on fire. The way you stand, and I'm standing with my legs apart, guys, right now, and I have the guitar in my hand, and I'm just like, I have this look on my face like, you all suck and I'm the best thing ever. That's,
And it's funny because I don't think that at all.
but you know what? It makes me want to watch you more because you are on top of your game when you are on stage. You become something else.
Well, yeah.
And that makes me love you.
Yeah. Hey,
You
you're
are
absolutely right.
amazing.
And I think
I'm
you
so
found.
glad I came.
You
He's got
found.
the badass guitar.
Yeah.
Was it my
posture.
clothes?
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing too, you found your genre. I think both of you, you're all over the map.
Pretty
You
much.
really are. And how do you in terms of like for your audience, you sort of like try to cater to the set to who you're playing, like in terms of like covers, originals, genres. I've heard you play country. I've heard you play rock. I've heard you play.
Well, it for starters, it depends on which band I'm with, and then when it's just like a jam type of situation, we do a lot of that at Joe's, where it's not a set band, it's just guys that have played together a bunch of times. I just try and read the audience, and think, well, let's see, what can we do that we haven't done in a while that they might like? That's the big thing. So I just try and see how this is going. Okay, if I throw something out there and it flops, okay, make a mental note. Don't do that again.
You get a bottle whizzing by your head.
Yeah.
We'll cut that song from the
Bad idea.
set.
Bad
You know when
idea.
I get a kick out of like that? I've seen some shows where I'll look around, I'll see somebody mouthing the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
Not yours, Baron.
No, but I see people playing air
playing the
guitar.
guitar.
Oh, yeah,
But when
yeah,
you
yeah.
see
That's
people
cool,
who are
man.
really
That is cool.
into and digging what you do, and I told Danny this during because of the stuff I had going on the last couple of years. I came back, we were talking when Abilene opened, and I go, he's like, "Thanks for all your support." I go, "No, thank you. You don't realize how the music carries you through the crappy times. Now it's
does.
there from you go out. It's actually therapy."
Yeah.
You know, and you feel welcome, and you feel like among friends, and you hear the music. It gets you go by the crap old times.
You know, Danny said to me Friday night, he goes,
He's got to be on the show too. He says he wants to, but
Yeah.
he never finds that time.
we can make him have time. If I can go and help him garden, he can make time.
Usually and I'll hog time and throw them in the trunk.
Absolutely.
We've done that before to a couple
He comes up to me
guests.
because this is like the first week that he opened up shop, and
Right.
and we were like the second night, and he goes, I really apologize that I had to rush you off stage and stuff, and I'm like, this was great. I said, this was absolutely fantastic. I said, but next time it's a ticketed show.
Right.
And then I go up to him and I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounded so rude and disrespectful because he's so nice to everybody. I'm like, Danny, I did not mean it that way. I really did
Well,
not
he
mean
said it to me
that
because
way.
I go to all of Adriana's shows, and I
Mm-hmm.
went there early, and he there was like another band playing, and he goes, I have to go check if you can come in because it's like he stuck me by the bar. And I'm like, yeah, we're friends, but believe me, during this crazy stuff, I don't really care because you know how bad it must be to run a club, having to deal with all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, he has to come out all the time. He'd say to me, he goes, I can only have 25 people out there. I can't have any more than that. I have to turn people away.
And remember that the day Adriana played there too, the weather sucks, so we had to be inside.
Inside, yeah.
And
that must have been really hard.
Well, number one, they had a happy hour band, so he was like saying, I don't really want to kick people out, but this was a show, you had the bands and stuff. So it's just, can you imagine? It's like, I can't imagine being in like a service industry now. I've been worked in it for years because I would go, even being like a cashier at a store during all the COVID stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm biting my lip. Yeah, he's I've kept in touch with him throughout this whole COVID thing. And he's been struggling. So I'll do anything for Danny Deutsch to help him succeed and survive because he has done a lot for us as musicians, supporting us and making sure that we are treated nicely. And he's just very kind and sweet, and I just appreciate the venues in the city.
And I also think the one thing about Rochester, and like you're saying, unfortunately, I think we're getting to that age. We're seeing some things. We see like things in life. People are dying. We're getting older. Mm-hmm. But I think one thing about Rochester, the kids are all right. I think the younger generation, we have so many great musicians around. And that's the thing is there anything you would tell them? Like, in terms of...
Get out of the fucking business.
Yeah. That's exactly the
you're
thing.
Smart. Get a degree and get a real job. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll end up like me.
Yeah, or me. Exactly.
Old and poor.
Yep.
But it's great to see, and I always go... I was with 3 friends of mine, like the one time... I was actually at a show at the Bug Jar, and I'm talking to my friends. It was Michaela, it was Sam. I'm telling them these stories, and I'm going, oh my God, I was going to this place before you were born.
I know.
Yeah, one of my best friends now is 21. And I got clothes that are older than him, but it's so cool. He's into like all this cool 70s music.
Oh, man.
I saw that one time.
And I love like looking at the world through his eyes.
I do too.
He's just starting to play. He's like learning to play guitar, the Tombstone Hands record CD, and
I told this story on here before when Dick Dale appeared at the Hog before his show. So I went down to meet him. Dick being Dick, he was 2 hours late. Then I thought people were going to murder me behind me because he didn't stop talking to me. By the time we were done, he was inviting me to his house in California. And I guess, but the thing was, what I saw behind me there were these 3 kids in high school. You knew they were the outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
They really dug this music, and I'm going, now that's cool.
yeah.
You know, it's like, now I've heard, like, from Adriana, Billie Eilish, and, like, I'll try.
Oh, my God, I love Billie Eilish.
Greg gets these arguments with me all the time.
Love Billie Eilish. She is, and you know who else I like? Ash Nico.
I've never heard of it. I've heard of Nico Case, obviously.
Oh, Ash Nico is this crazy horror rap girl, and she wears blue wigs, and she's got this great makeup, and she's got an okay voice, but it's what she does with the song and talks about her relationship like she's murdering the relationship with the person that who was the narcissist, who was constantly gaslighting her, saying that she was never going to go anywhere. She made it in this business by covering herself in like fake blood and having this other girl walk with her, acting like she's like killing all the ex-boyfriends that she had.
This is going to be your favorite new band, I think.
We're going to get them on.
Ash Nico. She's I don't know. I think she lives in London. I'm not sure, but she's amazing. And I love her, and she should freaking win a Grammy because she is so talented.
But that's the other thing about COVID, too, is like you think of a lot of older bands, and I think Stevie Nicks said this. She said, this was killing my last touring years. Like some bands, we're not going to be able to go back because they're just going to not be able to do it.
Yeah.
The Stones were supposed to tour in 20. They had to cancel. The Who.
Yeah.
Don
yeah.
wrote a song about the Stones.
Oh, it's a positive, negative, funny.
Ain't
We already
got
have-
time
we already-
to die. A mouth cries into a mic.
Oh, because we already have
Gleaming
we have
under a
the high
truss of
rises. You made
lights.
me look like Keith.
They flatter their tongues in an act of delight. Don is my husband, Don Blair, is such a
Hey,
fucking
Don.
brilliant songwriter.
But I guess your inspirations come from, I think, these days. Just be alive.
For the pandemic.
Plus, watch Combat when Tally's on, especially.
I would
Rat
have to
Patrol.
say
Rat Patrol.
For us, the pandemic made us so much better as a couple and as a band because we continued to work on our music, we continued to write, and WXXI had us on their home stage.
Soundstage, home stage.
Home stage, and Teej Jenkins, who used to sing.
Teej has
with
been on the
Anonymous.
show. She's a
Yeah,
friend.
she's a great friend. She's one of my best
Oh,
friends.
she's great.
She said, she used to sing with Anonymous Willpower years ago.
Who in this city hasn't played with your band?
Well,
I never sang
You have to
with
come up to play one
yeah,
time.
you'll have to play one time with us. Anonymous Willpower is basically a constant band of bunch of freaks who get together and we're on a caravan to take over the world, to make it a brighter and better place. And all you nasty people, watch Death Note and you'll see what I'm talking about.
But as always, it seems like on these latest shows we could go on for 3 hours, but the clock's tolling. And
Tick tock, tick.
we'd love to have you
Oh.
back, Steve. And of course, the Baron's always welcome.
Thank you for
One of the
having
rare
me.
places you are.
That's
Steve,
true.
we'd love to have you back. What's going on? Are you back? You're back playing now, aren't you? You, Steve.
Yeah,
And then
yeah. Actually, I've got a couple of things coming up. The country band is playing with opening for Jeff Riles at Photo City,
Right, Deb said that.
June 11th. I got a gig with somebody. Oh yeah, me and Dave Riccioni, Don Howcroft, and Wayne Naylor, the 12th, out at the Landing in Fairport. And
Remember
that-
the bridges out there for anybody
Oh,
going out.
yeah.
Just
it's a
keep that in
pain-
mind. Make
pain
sure you
in
go
the ass.
around.
Yeah,
Big pain.
But they've got a huge parking lot out there.
Yeah, parking lots are fine. Just make sure you go the right way.
That's going to be a very special thing because that was the last incarnation of the Energets. Our Dave and my band from the 80s. Well, we had a horn section as well, but we can't afford them right now. And then stay tuned for a legendary Dukes reunion.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah. With Ronnie Alberts, the original drummer for Wilmer and the Dukes, is coming up this summer, and we've got a couple of gigs lined up.
That's awesome.
Those are
Yeah.
going to be huge.
Yeah, probably.
And of course, the Baron every week has the Rumble on.
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Rumble, Rochester Free Radio.
Oh,
What
that's
time,
cool.
place?
1 to 3, 106.3 FM. And I think we're going to start playing too. And want to get this new band from Buffalo up and running by the fall. So
And
Cool.
you want to give the name yet, or
we're going right now. Andy Lee and the Hoss Tones.
Oh, I like that.
Cowpunk, baby. Cowpunk.
Cool.
Is it going to be originals, or like add in like some good old?
Both.
I think of like Nashville Pussies. All I can think of at the moment.
No, we're actually
I think of Boss Hog when I.
Boss Hog.
Boss Hog. We're doing like, Buck Owens,
Oh, yes!
Johnny Cash,
Dir-
but like the
dirtiest
Tombstone
song.
Hands.
The dirtiest song I think back in the day. I think you got it through. Who's going to mow your front
Yeah.
lawn?
Yeah.
I was thrilled to see Charlie Lovin when he played with Lucinda Williams. That was like something.
Oh, at the Armory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm one of the only people who said the sound was good because I was up with
Sound
Jenna
was
Wine.
great.
Okay, you too. I was up front with Jenna Weintraub. Sounded fine, but I had friends in the back said the sound stunk. So it depends where you are at the Armory.
We were up like
Oh, yeah, the Armory.
quarter of the way
notorious.
back up.
I'll tell you though, Adriana had a gig in the basement. That place in the '90s could have been like for those raves where you do ecstasy. The way it looks. I've never been down there before, but it was nice. It's like being in a cavern club.
Yeah.
Wow. I never knew.
So
it
and then I
existed.
know you're going to be playing. The Hands are going to be playing soon again, aren't they, or not? Or
Yeah, we're starting to look around. Definitely I Square stuff.
It's a nice place to play.
Talk to Deb about Photo City.
Yeah, you should talk to
yeah.
Deb.
By the way, anybody-
Right around the house.
Deb's my
corner.
best friend. I'll talk to her.
Anybody who has
Please.
not been to Photo City since it reopened, I was down there for Danger Bird and River Lynch and the Spirit Makers. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I did a solo gig there.
Kristen's there. She's awesome. She's fantastic and beautiful.
It's
I
right
love
around the
her.
corner from me, actually.
Yeah, it's a cool
Mm-hmm.
place.
Yeah, we
It's
played
so
there when it
beautiful.
first opened.
Yeah,
Yeah, we played a happy hour there.
with the vampire on
With,
stage.
oh my God. And our friend Pat McGill gave us some lilacs, and Don gently put the lilacs on Nosferatu's arms. And then I kissed Nasi on the
Then that
lips.
gives me an excuse to go get takeout from Sticky Soul around
There
the
you
corner,
go.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's Roar right over there, too.
Yeah.
I love
Fun
Roy.
place.
Love playing there. Love Dee.
I haven't
Dee Dee's
been
great.
in there yet.
Dee Dee's great.
It's a nice place. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That's what I described it as fun.
Yeah.
Fun's good.
Oh, I wanted to let you know we're going to be playing at Lux on September.
They're open now? I don't even
September 24th.
know. Oh, we'll have to
cool.
bring that
Anonymous
up
Cool.
again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I know, I don't think the Bug Jars had a show since it started.
No, and then also we're going to be playing July 24th at I Swear.
I thought you were going to say IHOP. It's like,
I was going to
first
say
time.
IHOP, and I was like, pancakes. Can't have those.
Pancakes and Anonymous Willpower.
Oh, that sounds so toasty.
Toasty goodness.
Well, as always, it's been fun. I wish we could do this more, but it's been long enough because people have short attention spans.
Huh?
But Steve, even if it's amusing people, you know how it is these days. But Steve, great having you on. You got to come back.
I will definitely.
There's so much, like, this is like the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
and everything.
Yep.
You know, we'll have like the Baron serenade you.
Maybe we can have a guitar showdown.
Just don't play that banjo thing or I'm running.
Right. You and me both.
You know,
If
but
you hear
that's
banjo
cool.
music,
And then,
paddle
I think we were
faster.
going to play. We have all these musicians, but Suzi gets to play something. I think that she brought with her, right? She want to play a song.
It's called Angel in Control. And,
Love that song.
And it's actually about my life and the trauma that I had to deal with growing up as a child that turned me into the crazy woman that I am today. And the reason I wrote this song was to help people who have had trauma realize you can get out of it as long as you keep a positive attitude and just keep moving on and keep going. So.
That's really, I mean, I always respected that too. You have some bands who do stuff like bop, but then you have people who really mind their own personal life and bring the spirit out. That's like, I think the best compliment anybody ever said to you was that one time at Johnny's where the guy went up and said, you can have one person here, you can have 1,000, you always just bring it all.
Yeah. Well,
I
we
think
do.
all of you do that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we do.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a lot harder to play to a smaller room than it is to play to a larger crowd.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've always appreciated the smaller venues, because you get to know the people, you get to see them. When you're playing in a big, giant venue, it's a faceless crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like the Kinks, like that one Kinks song.
Well,
the
Ray
face in the crowd.
Davies spit on one of my friends by accident. He gobbed a Luger when he was
Oh.
talking. Hit my friend right. I would have gotten like a jarred cotton. That you know, somebody now would be selling it on eBay.
Yeah.
But call Steve Lyons. Check him out wherever. He's all over the place. Anonymous
Hardest
Willpower.
Merkin man in
And of course,
Rochester.
the Baron, you can check the Rumble out and then catch him live with the hands. The other one, and next time I'll tell the Dennis Jones stories about how I met him. Was like a dude randomly comes up to me, starts telling me Satanic Majesty's Request is the greatest Stones album ever. I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Mr. Jones.
It went from there. But thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good week and
Thank
rock
you,
on.
Rob.
Bye.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Rob.
Bye!
The devil came to me, he tried to make me sell my soul. I say, you can't touch me, I'm eternal. The old man came to me, he said, I'm gonna make you see that the only way to get fame is through me. And I say, you can't me to UFOs in the woods. Tied a dead crow to a rope by a tree. Try to make it fly again. It said it free, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said it free, yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause I'm a free guy. I said it free, 'cause I'm a free. And I was naked in a circle, swimming in a coral, raised as a heathen. No truth surrounded me. Hopped in my riding road to the woods. The Lord is my shepherd and